Patreon.
気持ち悪い。
Berserk is inadaptable. It doesn't matter who tries, whether it be Netflix or the Castlevania guy or the most proficient animation studio ever that is given an unlimited well of resources, Berserk will not be adapted properly because of one very simple reason. No one has the balls to adapt Donovan. I bet this isn't how you saw this video opening. Censorship will be the death of any would-be Berserk adaptation. And the reason this is such a big deal, and the reason I'm bringing this up in a video about Casca, is because if you don't adapt Donovan, you don't adapt Casca properly. Casca's singular best moment relates to Donovan directly, and her being juxtaposed to him. This is the moment referenced in the title of this video that undeniably makes Casca the best character in Berserk. I'll show you the exact moment as we progress. But first, let's set up the reveal of which exact panel it is by explaining a few things about Casca first. Casca is the best character in Berserk. Getting her wrong makes any adaptation of Berserk unacceptable. But why is Casca never adapted properly? Because her strength and likability as a character emerges in her growing maturity and her understanding and kindness. And this is only illustrated through the juxtaposition presented between her and Donovan in relation to Guts. This becomes evident obviously in the scene where Guts and Casca finally get together. This is one of my favourites, if not my favourite scene in Berserk, and it's easily the happiest moment in both of these tormented characters' lives. Therefore, fucking this scene up like it has been done in every adaptation I've seen of this series is a travesty. This scene is so important because it not only acts as the emotional climax of both Guts and Casca's character arcs in the Golden Age, but it also cements Casca's likability. Whereas in the animes, we never get this cathartic moment of kindness from her, and she comes off whinier and more annoying than Miura intended. Let's analyze this more specifically to make the point better. Casca and Guts are fundamentally two characters looking for purpose who find it within each other, and they only get to share the euphoria of this discovery for a single night before their lives are forever changed the following day. They both individually sought purpose through Griffith until they both overheard the monologue Griffith gives at the fountain. This is important because most people forget that Casca was listening in too, and only highlight the profound effect this speech had on Guts as a character when it was equally as important to Casca as a character. Eventually they both come to terms with not being able to be satisfied standing behind Griffith. Behind Griffith, Casca will never become someone worthy of being his woman, and behind Griffith, Guts will never become someone worthy of being his friend by Griffith's own metric. So they both either choose or are forced out on their own. But they both struggle with feeling like they have no purpose once they've stepped out on their own. The only purpose these two characters ever find outside of being a part of Griffith's dream is through each other. This is a beautiful incarnation of the universal and very basic theme, love conquers all. What Kentaro Miura, Berserk's author, is trying to communicate here is that to be fulfilled in life, you don't have to become a king or dream to change the world. Actually, that will likely lead you to misery, isolation, and bitter loneliness. All you have to do is find someone that you love and someone that loves you. This in his eyes will be more fulfilling and give you more purpose than 1,000 loyal subjects or any shiny crown. He is saying through Guts and Casca's relationship and in this scene that love can conquer ambition. That's what's being said through this scene thematically, but what does this moment mean personally to our characters, if we remove all the subtext and theming from it all? And why does this specifically make Casca undeniably the best character in Berserk and not, say, Guts? Well, this scene is where both of these characters realize everything I just explained, both in themselves and in each other, and it's great. After fending off Salatna's accompanying raiding party and getting the reunions out of the way, Guts and Casca head off to talk privately, not knowing entirely what this will lead to. Casca turns her feelings into an attack and then regrets it when she actually hurts Guts. They have a tender moment and then she outrightly states that she's put her dream of being with Griffith behind her, knowing that it's a lost cause at this point. She gives up, thinking that she has nothing left to live for, and collapses from all the pressure and nearly falls to her death, only for Guts to prove her wrong by saving her from falling. Not only is this a direct parallel to the last time they fell off a cliff together, but this is also Guts demonstrating to Casca that she has some value to him and to this world, because he didn't just let her die. Now realizing that someone cares about her enough to save her life, she understands she has value outside of Griffith and realizes her own feelings for Guts as she caresses the wound she just gave him, which leads into the kiss. This sex scene is structured so we understand what this event means for both characters. We get internal monologues throughout the scene from both characters so that we understand explicitly what this moment means for both of them and how important this moment is for both characters' lives. The scene is also quite long, stretching over several chapters. This scene is not just a hey look, they finally got together moment. This is the climax of both of their character arcs, and in Casca's case, the only character arc she's ever had. We spend a lot of time here because Miura wants you to understand the levity of this dual character moment. We start the scene from Casca's perspective. She admits at the beginning, as we are given an internal monologue from her, that at the snowy peak as Guts left, her admiration for Griffith shifted from him to Guts. She couldn't take her eyes off him as he courageously walked away from comfort to pursue his own path. In that moment he didn't console Griffith and run to his side, she just watched Guts walk away. She describes the moment here as feeling like her old feelings for Griffith became lies in an instant. And those feelings for Guts, her true feelings, hold up in this moment. Guts in this moment can give her what Griffith never could. Equal standing and requited love. That's Casca's motivation behind this. Guts is more valuable to her in this moment than Griffith. She had no real worth to Griffith besides being a good soldier, but to Guts, as we have learned over these last 20 years, she can be everything. We then transition into the bulky Guts portion of this scene. He also shows his maturity, kindness, and understanding in this scene when he recognizes that Casca is insecure about losing her womanhood due to her time as a soldier. He quells this fear in her, culminating in this adorable panel. This moment is actually Guts' equivalent of what you'll come to know as Casca's undeniable moment that makes her the best character in Berserk. Here he accepts and understands Casca's insecurity and vulnerability in the moment, and makes her comfortable in her own skin as exactly who she is. This will be given back to Guts in this scene tenfold. We then get some quick internal monologue from Casca where she realizes that in this moment of climax that her feelings for Guts in this moment aren't fake. Like she says her feelings for Griffith turned out to be. These feelings seem to be the real deal. Things take a turn for the worse when Guts loses control of himself midway, and it seems Miura is going to rob us of even this happy moment. Guts freaks out, internalizing his previous experience onto Casca. He mentally positions Casca as the younger version of himself in the Donovan situation, and suddenly all the memories start coming back. He starts choking her as he comes back to reality, emotionally distraught. He lets go and lets out a mad rant summarizing his entire depressing childhood for Casca to hear, as he talks about killing his father and being sexually abused. This is the most insecure and vulnerable Casca has ever seen Guts. Casca is the first and only person he's ever shared these traumatic memories with. This is his deepest and darkest secret that he seemed to have successfully repressed until this uncontrolled outburst. And suddenly Casca has all the power in this scene. Guts apologizes, saying that he has done a terrible thing, and turns to run away embarrassed, thinking he's forever fucked up this maybe once-in-a-lifetime chance of happiness for him and Casca. Guts has then seemingly ruined this unique moment of love and acceptance between these two characters, but then Casca has that undeniable moment. Casca reciprocates Guts' previous reinforcement of absolute understanding and acceptance and embraces him in a far more dramatic and heroic way. Just this image portrays everything I'd look to explain in this video, and it's all impossible to fully appreciate if Guts doesn't freak out because of his very blatant history with sexual abuse. So without Donovan, this moment can never be properly adapted. And therefore the rest of this scene doesn't have the emotional and climactic weight it has here in its perfectly preserved manga form. That's why Berserk is unadaptable. Casca then explains that for a while Guts has known all of her secrets and that they are now even. They now both understand just about everything about each other and love each other because of it. They're equals. And then things pick up again. I want a wound that I can say you gave me, and it's the hottest and cutest thing you've ever seen. We then get Casca's final internal monologue of this scene. She realizes that maybe in this relationship with Guts she can find some worth and fulfillment by not just being given support, but to be supportive in return. To Griffith, she was just a little girl following him around. But with Guts, she's giving something of equal value. That's why her feelings with Guts aren't lies, because they give her actual fulfillment. She's here now with Guts as an equal, giving and receiving in a healthy relationship, which is all she seemingly ever wanted. Then the scene entirely wraps up with this single page from Guts where he explains that as he dozed off, he remembered a happy memory from his childhood, as he nursed an injury with an ointment Gambino had given to him. This shows that through this experience with Casca, he has overcome his traumatic history, both sexually and emotionally. He has overcome the fears of his past and can now remember the good, healthy memories from his childhood. He successfully put the bad times behind him, and this is perfectly represented by the fact that he is not sleeping with his sword in this panel. We know that every night since Donovan, Guts has slept with his sword thinking it would protect him and make him forget, but now he sleeps only with Casca in his arms. She has replaced his sword, and obviously metaphorically here, Casca represents love. Therefore, this panel and this scene overall reinforce the message, love conquers all. It's not so dark and nihilistic now, is it? With that context, let's see that undeniable moment again. Well, that's it. That's the first video on the new channel, the first proper video, hopefully. If you're from the old channel and you really like the Berserk content, hopefully this fulfilled you. If you're new, entirely new, click the subscribe button. I got all the support links in the description below, Patreon, Streamlabs, all the other things, Twitter as well. It's been a stressful period since the old channel got deleted for notorious reasons. I made a whole video about why if you want to look into it, but hopefully we can start afresh here with another great Berserk video, or maybe not. There will certainly be more Berserk content down the line, so stick around for that. Subscribing would really help out the channel. I'm trying to get back up to the subscriber count I had in the past. I capped out at about 600 and I hope to make the 1,000 for the monetization purposes. If you want to support, you know where to go. Support links in the description below, and thanks.